Hello everyone, Chicken here. This is part 2 of 3 for the item guide videos. We'll be going over the, the magical items. Now, I do have the least experience with these items, but I will explain them, and I will compare them to ML items if there are any comparisons to help you understand. We first have the Scepter of Reverberation. This is similar to Lightning Trunch, where you hit something and it does a little bit of burst damage. It's a very popular first item on a lot of mages, and typically, after that, you go Savant's Wrath, which is the Holy Crystal in this game, except not as expensive. You get a lot of magic power, and you get that passive, which plus 30% magic power. Very, very good. Mask of Agony. This is the glowing wand, but burn only in this game. Burn magic damage, good for bruiser mages or poke mages that can do a lot of instant burst or burn. Twilight Stream. This is the Genius Wand of HOK, so big for burst damage, magic pierce, all that kind of stuff. It's called magic pierce instead of magic penetration in this game. I don't know why they call it pierce instead of penetration, maybe to make it different or unique, but yeah. Void Staff, talking about different or unique, they have the exact same name as the League one. Void Staff, just straight up magical pierce percent, so like Divine Glaive in ML, build it later. Insatiable Tomb. This is the concentrated energy of HOK. So magic lifesteal, build it on sustain mages, even like some magic tanks build this, or magic fighters. Tomb of Wisdom. This is a little bit of a unique item. This is a completely unique item in HOK. It works similarly to the Savant's Wrath, but you would always build it afterwards, because how this item works is the more flat magic power you have, the more damage you will deal. So this increases the amount of raw magic power you have. That would in turn increase the damage this provides. That's like the simplest way I can explain it. This scales on your raw magic power, but this increases your overall raw magic power. So you want to buy this first, and then buy Tomb of Wisdom. Splendor. This is the Winter Crown of HOK, and typically only for mages. You could item sell into it, or item swap. Probably some high tier pros do it, and I have to probably learn at some point. And grants immunity to all effects, you know the jizz. You're standing still, you turn golden, you don't do anything for 1.5 seconds. Holy Grail. Similar to Enchanted Talisman from ML, it regenerates your mana very fast, except slightly different. Once you're at max mana, it'll regenerate 1% HP per second, so very good for sustain as well. Golden Blade. This is the Feather of Heaven of HOK. The more attacks you have, basic attacks, the faster attack speed, and your basic attacks will do more magic damage. Staves of Sorcery. This is the Starlium Scythe of HOK. Extra magical damage after you cast a skill, and it scales on physical as well for some reason. It does not do true damage, it does magic damage. Augur's Word. This is like the old Clock of Destiny in ML, where you get HP upon leveling up, and you get magic defense instead of health. You get physical magic defense scaling instead of just... I don't remember, honestly, if old Clock of Destiny gave you defense or not. Maybe it did, and I'm remembering it wrong. But you get physical magic defense scaling based on your magic power, and then you get to level up HP, which is nice. Ardent Dominator. This is Rose Gold, but for mages. So a little bit of a unique item here. So, you need a sustained item as a mage. You're getting Dove a lot. You buy this as well as your Splendor. You won't die, or at least a lot less of a chance. Breakthrough Robe. Bit of a niche item, also unique to HOK. The more HP you have, the more magical pierce you have. And then vice versa. So, you get more HP... I'm just stupid. Whatever. It scales more on HP, so if you're a mage who builds, like... I know one here that builds this, and that's like, I think Lu Bang builds it because you're a tank. It's like a tanky mage item where you get more magic power or damage if you have a lot of HP. So it's very niche. You want to build it on burst mages, though. Frozen Breath. This is Ice Kuon from ML. Your skills will slow down the enemies upon contact, and it does stack, I think. Oh no, it doesn't stack in this. It decays from 30% to 50% over 1.5 seconds. Venomous Staff. This is the Glowing Wand anti-heal, but without the burn. Back when it was called Necklace of Durance, I believe, basically. Mages do buy anti-heal a lot in this game. They're not typically in the recommended builds, but if the enemy ever has a healing hero, you do want to build it. Moon Goddess is the upgraded form of the Splendor active item, and you get your, I think the immunity is extended slightly longer. Now again, we'll go over to boots here. You have your Boots of Fortitude, warrior boots in this game. If you've already watched the full previous video, I do go over the movement items and jungling items in every single part because I don't want to have them have their own dedicated video. But again, Boots of Fortitude, these are your warrior boots, you know, except they don't have the passive where it gets you more physical damage reduction per hit. Instead, it usually get a flat 10% physical damage reduction. So I think arguably that's much better, and they just copied how it was in League. Boots of Resistance, these are your tough boots, but they actually give you a lot of magic defense in this game, so it's actually kind of valid to rush these. You always rush boots in general, regardless. Well, not always, but a lot of times. So it'll help you versus a mage hero in a lane phase. And then obviously you have your CC reduction. Boots of Tranquility. These are your cooldown reduction boots, but they are unique in this game. They're like magic shoes, I'm sorry. And more unique because of the passive of shortens the cooldown of common skill by 15%, which is insane. That means you not only do you get 15% cooldown reduction for all your skills, but your first two skills aside from your ultimate, or any skill aside from your ultimate, gets 30% total cooldown reduction. So it is a very big difference. I don't know, mages build this over Magic Pierce. It's probably preference depending on what mage you're playing. But it is very, very noticeable, and I like it a lot. Because to be quite frank, magic shoes and ML kind of suck, and nobody builds them. But this makes like CD boots actually really viable, and a contending choice of like, oh, other boots or whatnot. And you have Boots of the Arcane. These are your penetration shoes, pretty normal, pretty standard. But they also give you mana regen per second, which is kind of nice. I didn't realize that till now. Taxi boots, swiftness boots, except they also give you HP per auto attack, which is kind of nice. I only noticed that now as well. So probably pretty nice for sustaining your lane phase. And if you're a high attack speed hero, you definitely notice the healing. Boots of Deafness. These are your rapid shoes. You get more move speed outside of combat. Pretty standard. Jungling. If you played old ML, you know what these are. You got your magic jungling item, physical damage jungling item, and tank jungle item. And then you upgrade them, obviously. Roaming. Different than how it works in ML. A lot different. Instead of a mask, you have two different items. You have a tanky one and a damage one. Oh, sorry, not damage. A damage aura and then a tanky one. So this will help your teammates around you. It's probably for like supports that are backline running around. And this is for your tank supports that are super tanky, frontlining, and whatnot. Then you have 4 different upgraded forms. I'm sure there's one that's more meta than the other, and I can't really tell you because I don't play support. But you probably will find that out looking through the hot builds when you look through the recommended builds. Anywho, that's all it for the magic items. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Again, this is part 2 of 3. Part 3 will be tank items. Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.